technology is truly practical now and definite advantages over conventional method. What are the future scopes in this means? The communication through internet and communication through GSM and solar power and wireless applications, we can handle the security during issues as centralized database maintenance of crops, and we control more parameters preciously. Our main motive is by using this method, we can reduce the water and given only sufficient water for plants compared to soil growing plants. For all people, the first preference is food. Without food, we can't live. So, we want to improve the agriculture by this type of technology to help our farmers. We can grow our India into a smart agriculture technique by using this IoT hydroponics. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Satya, and thank you, Charlata.
Yeah, ma'am.
Can you hear me, ma?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
ma'am.
We can hear you.
Okay. So very good presentation. So it was the essential thing, right? So need of the hour by using smart agriculture without sand. First of all, I would congratulate you, both of you, being second year students. You voluntarily come to give a presentation.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So all the best for futures too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am.
Next, I would like to call the participant. Janice is there.
Yes, ma'am.
Janice?
Yes, ma'am, I am here.
Yeah. Just you can proceed.
Yes, ma'am.
Janice, take just 5 minutes just to give a conclusion. We have to give a chance to everybody, I think so.
Okay, ma'am.
So others can mute your phone, huh? Please others mute the sessions. Satya.
Good afternoon. My name is Janish Ravan Bhaskar, and I am
Just hold. Rishikant, hold
third
your.
year.
Rishikant, hold. Mute your phone. Naveen, mute your phone.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Janish Ravan Bhaskar, and I am third year Computer Science and Engineering, and I will now present about AI ethics. So the objective is to analyze artificial intelligence ethics, to reason if AI ethics is needed, and discussing about artificial general intelligence and artificial superintelligence. And there is also a distress and transparency problem in AI. So when we are trying to implement AI ethics or creating some rules for AI, there will always be a problem because there will be a heavy opposition. And some ethics will have very high opposition, like equal rights for AI robots and rights to speech and rights to exist. And AI in major deciding field, for example, AI judges or AI doctors, implementing them there will have opposition. Humans tend to reject things that question their superiority or which derate their value. Since we are saying AI is better, that will of course derate their value. And rules for artificial superintelligence will be tougher because they will have different perspective of the world and different set of ethics of their own. Because ASI means that has higher intelligence than humans. And AI is not transparent and abstracts many things. We don't have control of what it learns because the algorithm itself has many problems, and we don't really know what it learns and how it predicts things. And there is a problem of ASI causing technological singularity. So in this graph, there is a time of human intelligence and machine intelligence, and there is this point where machines become more intelligent than humans, and this transhumans means ASI are machines that have far superior intelligence than humans. So is singularity possible? So to answer that, AlphaGo has already won the world's best Go player, Lee Sedol, and OpenAI has won world's champion Dota 2 players, and IBM Watson faced off against champion Jeopardy players and won them. Microsoft RefSnet outperformed humans in ImageNet challenge. So the inner workings of AI is an black box because we don't know how the algorithm decides things. And the user and the creator himself does not know what it's going to predict or what it's going to decide. And artificial reinforcement learning, they will learn without human monitoring. So they can develop a cognitive intelligence of their own. One popular example, Facebook they have shut down their AI because they developed its own unique language and started to communicate with another AI. There are some problem solving, making AI less biased during decision making by using diverse data sets, but AI itself learns through biasing. It actually biases the data when learning. Here, we don't know what our machine is going to predict, so we don't know if what it predicts is actually correct or wrong. And ensure that fundamental human ethics are not compromised. Data protection is mandatory to build trust among AI and humans. Ethics is not only about right or wrong, since ethics itself is subjective, meaning it is always viewed at only singular point of view. And bigger picture of ethics may be solved by an advanced AI which has high cognitive and logical ability. These ethics as a whole may not be biased to a single species, and single species here means humans, but may represent everything that exists. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jonas.
Good.
Jonas, one small question. Only one question to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Just go to that slide number 3, ma.
Okay, ma'am.
No, you can't able to see the slide.
I'm on minute, ma'am. I will try again. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you have given your objective as that artificial intelligence ethics, to analyze the intelligence, right? Analyze the artificial intelligence ethics, right?
Yes.
So how far do you feel that the ethics will be followed in AI? Give your justification. It's a general question. So how far you will be following ethics in AI?
Ma'am, it's actually very hard to follow because there will be a heavy opposition from humans, because when we give ethics or rules to AI, we mean equal rights for AI, which many humans will not approve of.
Yeah. Okay, fine. This is your justification, right? We can't able to follow ethics. Only up to certain limit we can able to
Yes,
follow,
ma'am.
right?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Very good presentation, Janice. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good.
Thank you.
Good, Janish. Right.
Next, I would like to call Ganesh Bharti. Is there? Ganesh Bharti ID 35. 35 is there?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah. Are you ready, ma, to present the paper?
Yes, ma'am. I'm presenting, ma'am. I'm presenting.
Yeah. Just you can carry on now.
Yes, ma'am. Just a second, ma'am. I'll share the
Yeah,
screen.
Okay, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Ganesh, small request, finish within 5 minutes.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, I'll finish, ma'am. Ma'am, is my screen visible?
Yeah,
Yeah,
ma'am,
it's visible.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Actually, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, delegates. My
Good
topic
afternoon.
is actually, good afternoon, sir. Sir, actually, I'm Ganesh Bharati Ravikrishnan, research scholar from Vinayaka Mission Kribananda Warrior Engineering College. My topic is exploratory examination on physicochemical properties of tamarind seed biodiesel with petroleum diesel fuel, actually. Sir, actually, why I'm choosing this topic is to extend the feedstocks for producing biodiesel, sir. Actually, extending feedstock for producing biodiesel is a very needed thing in this situation, in automobile situation, because in this automobile situation, in the sense for moving, that is for transportation facilities, we need the main thing is fuel. So for that fuel, we need petrol and diesel. That is, those are petroleum fuels from the crude oil. So because of the lack of crude oil, lack of in the sense it is being exploited throughout the world. So that is why we are looking for another resource in the sense maybe it might be electrical vehicle or biodiesel vehicle. It might be CNG or LPG also. So from the biodiesel, there has to be a major part actually. So that major part is renewable because those are from flora of our country, planet actually. So more amount of flora is there, so we can explore many things and we can explore many resources for producing biodiesel. So my part is to extend the facilities. I mean, extend the resources, number of counting of resources for producing biodiesel, sir. So the introduction. So I'm choosing this tamarind seed as an feedstock for producing biodiesel. So this tamarind seed, you can see the oil yield percentage is 20 to 40% of oil yield percentage it can give. The tamarind seed could give. The tamarind seed, why I chose the tamarind seed is the reason is mainly the tamarind trees are largely present in the area of South India, southern region of India. So that is why I chose tamarind tree, and also if you see the maintenance for tamarind tree is very low. And you can see the second point, India is one among the larger producers of tamarind, having a production range from this much to 2 lakhs to 2.5 lakhs tons annually. Also, the tamarind seed is not widely used in food also. It is being wasted only. It is used as a mosquito coil ingredient only, not a useful thing actually. So we can use it as a feedstock for producing crude oil which produces biodiesel, which can be used as a fuel for vehicles actually, IC engines, internal combustion engines actually. So in the third point, in the fourth point, you can see the kinematic viscosity, the average kinematic viscosity after testing the crude oil from tamarind seed was 6.51. And the calorific value, you can see it is very much good, and it is 25 mg megajoules per kg. And the limitations are also there. The previous researchers are also there based on the tamarind seeds are not more than 15 percentage lead in this research, or up to 80 percentage in different conditions actually. Different conditions because every climatic conditions and land conditions gives different properties of tamarind seed actually. Those yield are different. So if you collect the seeds from a different area, different kinds of area, the seed oil yield capacity will be different. So that is why.
Mr. Ganesh Bharati, the slide
Yes,
is
sir.
not moving. Slide is not moving. Only title slide is only visible. All of
Yes, sir, 1 minute, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Now, okay, sir.
No, slide is not shifted.
sir, now, sir. Actually, I'm sharing the screen.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Screen is visible. Slide is not. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay, sir.
Ganesh Badi, excuse me, just you can tell your what is your observation on your paper.
Observation on my paper.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay, ma'am. Sure.
that's enough.
Sure.
We are
Sure.
running out of time.
Sure, ma'am. I understand actually. These are the methodologies actually. Methodologies are extracting the raw oil, then preparation of biodiesel from KOH, that is potassium hydroxide, alcohol solution. Then washing the biodiesel and the separation of glycerin ester. It is not needed. That actually we can use it as an cosmetic items also. That is also not wasted. The removal of water content, it is also the process and testing. So testing of properties for biodiesel that I obtained from tamarind seeds, or you can see the oil also, extracted oil, and this is biodiesel. Extracted oil, after processing, it becomes biodiesel, and it is biodiesel you can see on the screen actually. This is the results I got in comparison with other oils. Calorific value of tamarind seed biodiesel, that is second orange color bar you can see. The calorific value is nearly equal to diesel, and you can see at the kinematic viscosity also nearly equal to diesel, equal to diesel. Because kinematic viscosity should be low, because then only you can spray the inject. Then only you can inject the fuel inside the cylinder actually.
Automation.
Automation, yes. Automation, sir.
Yes.
Automation is the major part in the combustion of fuel. So that the kinematic viscosity should be low, and it is low only in the tamarind seed biodiesel. And you can also see the flash and fire point. Flash and fire point is the important parameter for to burn the fuel. Actually, it should be low as possible, not low as possible. It should be based on the engine operating conditions. It is also nearly equal to the diesel. So we don't need any extra arrangements for obtaining flash and fire point to obtain self ignition temperature actually. So these are the values which I found in which I plotted the graph actually. So these are my findings, and it is see, you can also see kinematic viscosity and calorific value of the blending of which my fuel, that is tamarind seed biodiesel blending B20 as 20% biodiesel tamarind seed biodiesel. And you can see if I go on increasing the percentage, the kinematic viscosity is lowering. So we can stop with B40. Then calorific value also, it is increasing if we increase the amount of biodiesel mixture. So these are the positive outcomes of the results which I got from the testing of fuel. So this is the flash and fire point of blending actually. B80 is also nearly equal to diesel, and it is optimistic. The blending parameters, and there you can see that orange and yellow color. Flash and fire point. Then the conclusion actually. Conclusion is what did I say? The same thing is. You can see as you saw in the graph, the kinematic viscosity and calorific value also, those are giving the positive results only. So if we further proceed for the engine testing things, we can positively get the optimistic results from the engine testing. So it is possible to use tamarind seed biodiesel in the diesel engine. So it is positively possible fuel for a diesel engine, sir. So that is my conclusion actually from this presentation.
Thank you, Ganesh.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ganesh. Nice presentation. Super.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, any question is there?
No question, madam. Clear.
Okay.
Clearly presented. Comparison, everything is very clear.
Okay, sir. So let's move on to the next participant. Paper ID 34, Lakshika Jyoti. Lakshika is there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm there.
Yes, ma'am. Just you can proceed. Just concise. No need an introduction and all. Just concise your presentation, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, I'm Lakshika Jyoti. I'm research scholar from the Department of Computer Science. I'm doing my PhD under the guidance of Dr. R. Shanma Sundaram. And I'm glad for giving me the opportunity to present the paper on the title Investigation on Possible Applications of Deep Learning to Enable Infrastructure in Intelligent Classrooms along with IoT platform. So basically, the main concept with my project title is that how we can build intelligent classroom infrastructure by using IoT as well as with artificial intelligence. So this is what the study is. For this, I have combined the problem and the solution in a single technological implementation. So you have to take the IoT platform, either it can be IoT prototypes or the mobile devices, and for that we have to consider using computer vision or image processing based techniques with that. So since we are using computer vision techniques, obviously we have to move forward with deep learning. In deep learning, we have to work with the neural network paradigm. So this is what the solution definition I have constructed into it. So why we go for deep learning for computer vision is, since most of the computer vision based complex problems has been solved by using deep learning in the recent years. So most of the solutions for this image based task is done by using machine learning and deep learning algorithms, where we use the concept called convolutional neural network, where the deep learning has the automatic feature extraction process done by itself, and based on which we can build the model to derive the solution by learning through its experiences. So based on this, I have come to a technical paradigm where we can gather some sensors, since we are going to use IoT devices in which the classroom can have some kind of sensors like PIR sensor, fingerprint, temperature, photoresistor, heart pulse rate resistors, which are available in wearable devices and touchscreen displays, light detector, accelerometer, gas sensor. So these are all the available sensors which we can use along with camera. Suppose we want to trigger the camera inside the classroom. So based on some changes or some identifications or threshold values that are available in the sensors, we can switch on the camera to take some decision making. So these are all the sensors which can use along with IoT devices. So based on this, we have come across some literature works which are taken from 2013 till recent 2020. So based on all these literatures, cameras have been used inside the classrooms to enhance the mixed reality experiences or to give the power management system. And in 2015, there was automatic lights automation using Ethernet connection. And in 2017, there were the systems where it can analyze the behavior of the user. And in 2017, few more papers where it can recognize the faces and gesture lips tracking of the students. Based on their behavior, they can take some decisions, and they are used along for the surveillance monitoring also. So again, in 2018, there were some papers where they can track the behavior of the students inside the classroom, and a few sensors like DHT11, they were used along with these kind of sensors to monitor the environmental conditions inside the classroom, so that based on that, the students' activities inside the classroom can also be monitored. From 2019-20, many papers were available for face recognition based attendance management system, emotion management, emotion recognition, and to follow the instructor's activity recognition. And there was a paper where they can wholly use the concept called SCADA, through which they can wholly create the full architecture of the intelligent classroom infrastructure. And there was a concept where they can study the use of edge computing and osmotic computing inside the classroom, so as to detect the persons who are available inside the classroom. So at last in 2020, there was a paper where they had tried to find the effective content states, like how their feedback is based on the lectures given by the lecturers. So this is what the basic styles which they have approached to build an intelligent classroom. So based on this, I have proposed a methodology where the major
Lakshya,
yes, ma'am.
sorry for the disturbance. We can able to understand what you're trying to say. Just only one question from my side.
Okay, ma'am.
So what are all the challenges, right? What are all the
Yes.
challenges you face for developing this application?
So the major drawbacks or major challenges that I face is collection of data sets. The main difficulty that I face is how the data set has to be collected. So since for deep learning, we had to approach it with a more number of data sets. Only with that, we can get a high level of improvement in accuracy. So we have to look over through that. and we have to suppose for example if we are moving for attendance management, or if we are going to take the pictures of the students or staffs inside the classroom, so we have to see the variations or pose or elimination conditions. So all these kind of changing factors we have to take into consideration. So these are all the challenges I face when trying to take data sets for collection. The main thing is that after that we have to have the model training based on the parameters. So since we are going to use a pre-trained model for this, so there are many pre-trained models available for a mobile for IoT based training. But since this is the new concept which is now uprising, there is no steady or standard rule to use which one is for which concept. So since that is the major drawback, so the parameter consideration is also the challenges that I have
Challenge.
facing in that.
Okay. Okay. One question from my side.
Okay, sir.
If you implemented effectively this thing in the classroom, is it? I think it is fully mechanized. The student like this environment.
Yes, sir. Because it will help them to. Because based on this, I have taken a survey with some kind of students also. So based on the survey, is that the students are agreeing to use all these kind of. They do not feel that it will.
No, from your presentation, this
Okay, sir.
thing not teach anything, not teach anything to student. They just governing, just control the student only.
It is going to monitor them in from some point of view, sir.
Yeah, no need to monitor. If a student eagerly listening inside the class, no need to monitoring.
Sir,
I thought it's somewhat controversial. Controversial.
shall I add some? Hello, sir.
Yeah,
Shall,
please.
shall I add some point to this one, to this conversation?
Yes, madam. Please.
Sir, what I think she's trying to say is monitoring should also be there.
Okay.
That alone is not needed, but it also a point. And as per your view also, it's right, sir. Right? As per
Yeah.
you also.
If any college in the classroom install a single camera, I am not ready to take class. I'm take class in front of camera. That's different. But monitoring,
Monitoring,
there is no privacy for the students. Everything is required in class. I like some boys doing something in class. The other boys are they're looking listening the class, but inside they're sleeping. Inside his mind is sleeping
so
condition.
the point here is the freedom of the student will be
Yep.
get interrupted.
Yes, freedom is very important.
For both,
This thing
for faculty as well
crushed.
for students.
Yeah, both. These inventions are crushing the freedom of student. It's my point of view, but you proceed your research in this area. Some management, some people's like this kind of environment also.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
Okay.
Lakshika. Very good presentation.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, participants, I will conclude. This will be your last presentation. With this, we are going to conclude the event. And I regret myself because we can't able to give chances for all the participants, right? So the participants who I'm going to call now will be the last participant, right? So others, no need to worry. We will be providing some other platform, some other days we'll be providing the opportunity to carry out your work, right? So now I'll be calling paper ID 14, Ravina Venugopal. Are you there, ma'am? Ravina is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you ready to present?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you can carry on. I will again. I'm repeating that after Ravina's presentation, the session will be ended. So this will be the last presentation. So other participants, please don't mistake. So we'll be providing some other platform, right? Ravina, you can proceed.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, is my screen visible?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
visible,
visible.
ma. It's visible. It's visible.
Okay, ma'am. Good evening, everybody. I'm
Good
going to
evening.
present my topic, pipe and PC technology. First of all, the contents are history, introduction, functions, working, block diagram, merits, demerits, and after that, conclusion. So, when going to history, the 5-pen PC conceptual prototype was built in 2003, and the prototype device is named PISM, which means pen style personal networking gadget, and it was created by a Japanese technology company. And going to the introduction, 5-pen PC technology is
Ravina,
designed by. Okay,
Ravina,
ma'am.
excuse Ravina, just Santosh Kumar. Santosh is there? Santosh Kumar is there. Okay, Santosh,
Yes, ma'am.
just unmute it. Santosh, whether you want to give your presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so a small correction in this. So after Ravina's presentation, we'll end with Santosh Kumar presentation. Okay, Santosh?
Thank you.
Okay, and Ravina, please bind to the time. No need of introduction and all. Just you go for the
Okay,
methodology.
ma'am. Okay,
Okay, just you can
ma'am.
have 5 minutes,
Okay.
right?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
So, 5-pen PC has 5 functions: CPU pen, communication pen, virtual keyboard, LED projector, and digital camera. This 5-pen technology is with digital pen. How we can make it possible to get a digital copy of handwritten information by a digital pen and paper. So, a pen style cellular phone with handwriting data input function and virtual keyboard is there, and also a very small projector, and also camera scanner, and personal id key is used with cashless fast function. PISMs are connected with one another through short range wireless technology. The whole set is connected to the internet through the cellular phone function. The whole set is connected to the internet through the cellular phone function. This gadget is a minimalist pen style that enables the ultimate ubiquitous computing. So this is the block diagram of 5-pen PC. So it has a CPU pen, and there is a keyboard, and there is a camera, and communication pen is there, and these are connected each other, and it is presented in the computer. So the keyboard is a virtual keyboard, which is presented through the pen. So by laser light we can see the keyboard. And when coming to the merits, this 5-pen PC is portable. We can change it to anywhere, any location. It can be transferred from one place to another, and it has a very long-lasting battery life. So it can be used for 6 days or 2 weeks in normal use, and it reduces the electronic waste. There is no electronic waste coming, so the virtualization also reduces the cost, and it is also much lighter to carry. It is a portable computer. So instead of computers, it's easy to carry. There is it's a 5-pen. The demerits is that we need to concentrate on the positioning of the pens. If slight changes are there, the entire setup will be destroyed, and the cost is little high due to the technology being new. And when coming to the conclusion, this devices is smaller and compact. We can carry it anywhere, use it in any location if we have network connection. And This is a portable PC, so we can expect more such developments also in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. A small suggestion. So to cut down the cost, just you can work on that, right? While you are carrying out your main project and all, so you can work down with the same concept. How to cut down the cost, right? So right now it is very
Okay.
it's not a cheaper one. So you can go in that way, how to cut down the cost and how it can be used by the normal people. For affordable cost, all can use. So you can go with that way, in that way. So this is my
Okay.
suggestion. Thank you, Ma.
Okay.
Sir, any other questions, sir?
No question, madam. Nice presentation.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So,
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
okay,
sir.
thank you, Ma. Thank you. So I would like to call Santosh Kumar, yes, right? So Santosh Kumar, yes, will be the panel participant. Santosh,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
yeah, yeah. Just you can go with your screen, ma'am. You can go to the screen.
Okay, ma'am. Good morning to all. Good afternoon to all.
Good evening.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi, I'm Santosh Kumar from Mahendra Engineering College, final year. My guide, Dr. R. Vijay Rajeshwari, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science Engineering, Mahendra Engineering College.
Okay.
My topic is cloud computing. Introduction. Cloud computing refers to any situation in which computing is done in any remote location rather than your portable device, like mobile phone, tablet, etc. Whereas the cloud computing power is stable run over an internet connection. Almost all IT resources can be delivered as a cloud services, such as applications, compute power, storage capacity, networking, programming tools, and also communication service. This is cloud computing architecture. This is client side. This is the middleware. This is the database. Cloud computing refers to in three sections. They are first in the front end, another one is the central system, and last one is the back end. What is mean by front end? The front end is refers to front end. The front end includes all the client computers and the complete application required to access cloud computing system. This includes services accessing social network accounts via web browsers. Via web browsers. Simply, we say that the front end is the side of the computer user, which is the client side, which includes user interface and etc. Central system, the central server administrator. A central system is an administrator and monitor traffic and the client events to ensure everything runs smoothly. It follows set of protocols and use integration software called middleware. A middleware allows network computers to communicate with each other via web services or REST APIs. API means application protocol interface. Middleware software can run on premises or in the cloud. Last one is a backend. Backend is nothing but it's a cloud storage. It's full of cloud storage. In theory, a cloud computing system could include practically any computer program. You can imagine from data processing to video games. Usually, each application will have its own dedicated software. A cloud computing system could include practically any computer programs. You can In example, when a customer creates a Google account, a front end is an user details. In middleware, which includes some protocols to protect our data, and next and the backend. The backend is pushed into our data to store our database. Vendor. What is mean by vendor? Vendor is a vendor.
Yes, Santosh,
Ma'am?
any problem in your side, ma'am?
No, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, carry on.
A vendor. An organization that sells computing infrastructure that stores clients' data to store our organization database. Some of the vendors like providing a database in cloud computing like Amazon, AWS, Google, Microsoft, IBM, and so on. So there are 289 cloud vendors are there in the world. Amazon is first one to provide true cloud computing resources with his name is Amazon Web Service and AWS also. Google launched its cloud computing offering named App Engine, and Microsoft also its name is Azure. And IBM has its own cloud computing offering named as Blue Cloud. Some of the cloud vendors are Google Cloud Platform like Beehive, Join, Grid, Virio, Mozo, EngineGuard, so on, so etc. Different modes of cloud computing. They are public clouds, private clouds, and hybrid. Public mode. Yeah, public modes are run by third parties and jobs from many different customers, maybe mixed together. The servers, the storage system, and other infrastructure within the cloud. End users don't know who else job may be run on the server, network, or disk other in the own jobs. Public cloud may use, ma'am?
Santosh, sorry for the interruption. Can you give
Yes.
an example for each types of cloud?
Yes, ma'am.
I need a real-time example.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Example like Amazon. Amazon gives more number of cloud storage, ma'am. Each one is really cost, ma'am. If public, they have and less storage, ma'am.
Okay. Other than Amazon?
AWS, Google, Microsoft, IBM, and this also, ma'am. Join, Beehive, Grid, Beta, also Virio.
Yeah. For private?
These are also vendors, ma'am.
For private cloud?
Private cloud. Private clouds are a good option for companies with their data protection. Ma'am, it's really good for our protect our data to store in cloud storage, ma'am.
Okay.
Private clouds are demand and infrastructure owned by a single customer who control the application run anywhere, ma'am.
So whether we have to pay for private cloud?
First we need to create an account, ma'am.
Okay. No,
Then we
my
have
question
to
is,
pay for how much storage we need.
yeah, that's what I'm asking. My question is whether it is necessary to pay for the private cloud.
Yes, ma'am, pay, ma'am. If we pay, our data will secure, ma'am.
Can you conclude that whether storing the data in private cloud will be securing my data 100%? Is it possible?
Ma'am, 99% it's possible, ma'am.
For security?
Yes, ma'am, 99% secured, ma'am.
Then what about that 1%?
Some data loss, ma'am.
So data loss or data hacking?
Some no data thefting, ma'am. Some data loss only, ma'am. Private clouds, it provides a high level of security and privacy, ma'am.
Okay. Then what about hybrid? What is the necessary for going hybrid? So already we are having public cloud, right?
Yes,
and we are having private too, right? So what is the necessary to go for a hybrid cloud?
Hybrid, which combines public and private cloud models, ma'am.
Yeah, I agree with that. My question is, So already two sets of cloud is available, private and public, right? So those who want to use private, they can pay and they can afford as per their finance, right? So public,
Yes, ma'am.
it's free. It's free. We can use it. So what is the
Ma'am, public
necessary?
is little free, ma'am.
Yeah, that what free. It's free. So
Yes,
what
ma'am.
is my question is, what is the necessary for growing for going to the hybrid cloud?
I'm done, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Okay, ma'am.
Good. Good.
There is some limitation, ma'am. Some customization and scalability problems with sequential processing and data privacy issue because of common resource, ma'am. That is public, ma'am. Because a public cloud may use a multiple number of users, ma'am. Lack of high-speed internet connectivity cause surpluses. That's all, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Very good presentation. Just you verify it. What is the issues in going for hybrid? Why we are going? And you have to be message me later, Santosh. Okay.
Okay,
Santosh.
ma'am.
Okay. Sir, do you have any
Okay, ma'am.
questions, sir? Natarajan, sir?
No, madam. No question.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So I would like to thank all the participants who were present to this event as a participant and also as a presenter. I would like to thank all the participants on behalf of IIC, that is Institution Innovation Council, and I would like to thank our respected principal, Dr. A. Nahappan, who was the chairman of IIC, and I would like to thank Dr. C. Arun Kumar Madhuppan, president of IIC, who gave a chance to conduct this event, paper writing and research report on innovation. And I would like to congratulate and appreciate all the participants who make an effort to present the paper, and also like to thank the participants who patiently were around 5.5 hours. You are be patient and you are listening to this session. And my special thanks to two of our jurors, Dr. S. Narajan sir and Dr. S. Venkateshan sir from Mechanical Department. My special thank you to you, sir.
Thank you,
So
madam.
immediately they have given their response to attend to act as a jury. Thank you, sir, once again. I conclude, and also I want to thank who are all supported me, HODs, research supervisors. So research supervisor insisted that students to present a paper in this event. So I want to thank all HODs, research supervisor, and then my supporting staff who made arrangement for this lab and for poster design. So yeah, Mr. Loganathan from AAA department. So he helped in many ways for certificate design and for poster design and all. So I thank my special thanks to Mr. Loganathan, who helped me a lot to organize this program. So once again, I thank all the participants. And before concluding, I would like to suggest that you will be receiving the participants. If you are a participant, you will be receiving your participant as well. If you are a presenter, you will be receiving your presenter certificate. So wait for 1 or 2 days. You will be definitely receiving all your certificates. So thank you one and all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
So I would like to wind up this meeting. Okay, thank you, participants. Thank you all.